When I opened my eyes, everything felt wrong. The silk sheets were too soft, the room was too large, and my body felt different. I sat up quickly, my head spinning with memories that were not mine. I was Kian Ashford, a minor character in Destined Hearts, the BL novel I had read last night before falling asleep. My heart raced as the plot came rushing back. Kian was a spoiled Omega who bullied the protagonist Omega, Elliot Rivers, throughout their academy years. In the original story, Kian's jealousy led him to orchestrate a terrible accident that nearly killed Elliot. The alpha protagonist, Adrian Blackwell, discovered the truth and completely destroyed the Ashford family. Kian ended up alone, bankrupt, and abandoned by everyone. I looked at my reflection in the mirror. Soft brown hair, delicate features, and violet eyes stared back at me. I was beautiful, but beauty would not save me from the tragic ending waiting ahead. "Young master, breakfast is ready," a maid called from outside. I took a deep breath. According to my memories, today was 3 months before the academy semester began. I still had time to change my fate. But how? The novel focused on Elliot and Adrian's romance. Kian was just an obstacle in their path, destined to fail. Then it hit me. If I could not avoid being the villain, I would befriend the protagonist instead. Elliot was kind and forgiving in the novel. If I became his ally before Adrian appeared, maybe I could survive this story. I needed to find Elliot immediately. After breakfast, I told my driver to take me to the Eastern District, where Elliot lived with his grandmother. The Ashford family was wealthy, while Elliot came from a poor background. In the original story, Kian had mocked him endlessly for this. The car stopped in front of a small bakery. Through the window, I saw him. Elliot Rivers was even more beautiful in person than the novel described. He had silver hair that caught the sunlight, gentle blue eyes, and a warm smile as he served customers. He wore a simple apron, and flour dusted his cheek. My breath caught. The protagonist's beauty was truly remarkable. I stepped out of the car, and Elliot noticed me immediately. His smile faded, replaced by caution. Of course he recognized me. Kian had bullied him since childhood. "Hello," I said, trying to sound friendly. "Can I buy some bread?" Elliot blinked in surprise. "Young Master Ashford? You want to buy bread here?" "Yes, please. Whatever you recommend." He studied me carefully, as if searching for a trap. Finally, he picked up a loaf of honey wheat bread. "This one is fresh from this morning." I paid him, adding a generous tip. "Thank you. By the way, I heard you will attend Silverstone Academy this fall." "Yes," he answered slowly. "Me too. Perhaps we will be classmates." I smiled genuinely. "I hope we can be friends." Elliot's eyes widened in shock. Before he could respond, the bakery door burst open. 3 alpha students from a nearby school strutted in, their eyes immediately locking onto Elliot. Well, the tallest one sneered. "If it is not the pretty Omega, why don't you come with us? We will show you a good time." Elliot stepped back, fear flashing across his face. Omegas were rare and often targeted by aggressive alphas. I felt anger rise in my chest. "He is not interested," I said coldly, stepping between them and Elliot. The alpha laughed. "And who are you? Another Omega? Even better." He reached for my arm, but I grabbed a bag of flour from the counter and threw it directly into his face. White powder exploded everywhere. While he coughed and stumbled, I grabbed a rolling pin. "Leave now, or I will call the police," I said firmly. "And trust me, the Ashford family lawyers are very good at their job." The mention of my family name made them pause. Everyone knew the Ashford family's power. The alphas exchanged glances, then retreated with angry mutters. After they left, I turned to Elliot. He stared at me with complete disbelief. "Why did you help me?" he asked quietly. "Because it was the right thing to do," I answered honestly. "And because I meant what I said. I want to be your friend, Elliot." For the first time, Elliot smiled at me. It was small and uncertain, but it was real. "Thank you, Kian." Hearing my name from his lips made my heart skip. This was just the beginning. I had to survive the story, but looking at Elliot's grateful expression, I realized something else. Maybe survival was not my only goal anymore. Over the next 2 months, I visited Elliot's bakery every day. At first, he remained cautious, watching me as if I might reveal my true cruel nature at any moment. But I was patient. I helped him carry heavy flour bags, chatted with his grandmother, and genuinely enjoyed his company. "You were different from what I expected," Elliot admitted one afternoon as we sat in the small garden behind the bakery. "Everyone said you were proud and cold." "People can change," I replied, which was technically true. Besides, those rumors were exaggerated. That was a lie. The original Kian had been exactly as terrible as the rumors suggested. Elliot laughed softly. "Your family must wonder why you spend so much time in this poor neighborhood." I told them I like the bread here. It is not wrong. I smiled at him. "Your baking is truly excellent." A light blush colored his cheeks. "You always say that." "Because it is always true." As we talked, I learned more about Elliot than the novel ever revealed. He loved reading poetry, dreamed of traveling the world, and worked hard to support his sick grandmother. He was kind, intelligent, and surprisingly funny once he felt comfortable. I also learned something the novel never mentioned. Elliot had a condition. As an Omega, he should experience heat cycles regularly, but his were irregular and painful due to stress and malnutrition. He had been saving money for medical treatment. "The Academy has free healthcare for students," I told him. "Once we start classes, you should see their doctors." "Really?" Hope lit up his face. "That would be wonderful." Without thinking, I reached over and gently brushed a stray hair from his face. Elliot froze, his blue eyes meeting mine. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then I quickly pulled my hand back, my face heating up. "Sorry, you had something in your hair." "It is okay," he whispered, but his cheeks were red too. That night, lying in my luxurious bed, I stared at the ceiling and worried. Was I getting too close to Elliot? In the novel, he was supposed to fall in love with Adrian, the alpha protagonist. If I interfered too much, would I ruin the main romance? But more importantly, what were these strange feelings growing in my chest? I barely knew what I would do when Adrian appeared. The academy semester began in September. Silverstone Academy was prestigious, beautiful, and enormous. The main building looked like a castle, surrounded by gardens and modern facilities. On the first day, I met Elliot at the entrance. He looked nervous but excited, wearing the academy's elegant uniform. He looked so handsome that several students turned to stare. "Ready?" I asked, offering my arm. He took it gratefully. "With you here, yes." We walked through the halls together, ignoring the whispers around us. Everyone knew who we were. Kian Ashford, the wealthy heir, and Elliot Rivers, the scholarship student. Our friendship was unusual and sparked gossip immediately. In homeroom, we sat together near the window. The teacher, a kind beta woman named Mrs. Chun, introduced herself and explained the academy rules. Everything seemed normal until the classroom door opened late. A tall figure entered, and the entire room fell silent. Adrian Blackwell had arrived. He was exactly as the novel described. Tall, broad-shouldered, with dark hair and piercing gray eyes. He moved with natural confidence, his alpha presence commanding attention. Every Omega in the room unconsciously straightened up, affected by his powerful aura. His eyes scanned the classroom and stopped on Elliot. According to the novel, this was the moment. Adrian would be captivated by Elliot's beauty and scent. Their fated mate bond would activate immediately. I watched carefully, my heart sinking. But then something unexpected happened. Adrian's gaze shifted from Elliot to me. His eyes widened slightly, and he inhaled sharply. A strange expression crossed his face before he quickly looked away and took a seat far from us. What was that about? "He is intense," Elliot whispered beside me. "That is Adrian Blackwell," I whispered back. "The heir to Blackwell Industries. They are even richer than my family." "He kept looking at you." "No, he was looking at you. You are the beautiful one." Elliot shook his head. "I think you are wrong." Class continued, but I could not focus. Several times, I caught Adrian glancing in our direction. Each time, he quickly looked away when our eyes met. Something felt off about this situation. After class, Adrian approached us in the hallway. Up close, he was even more intimidating. "Elliot Rivers?" he asked, his deep voice smooth. "Yes," Elliot answered politely. "I am Adrian Blackwell. I wanted to welcome you to the academy." Then his eyes shifted to me. "And you are Kian Ashford." "That is correct," I replied carefully. He studied me for a long moment. "I have heard interesting things about you lately. They say you have changed." "People grow up," I said neutrally. "Indeed." He smiled slightly. "I hope we can all be friends." Then he walked away, leaving both of us confused. "That was strange," Elliot said. "Very strange," I agreed. "What just happened?" In the original novel, Adrian had barely noticed Kian existed until much later. Why was he interested in me now? A terrible thought occurred to me. Had I accidentally changed something important? Was the plot already different from the novel I knew? If so, I had no idea what would happen next. The next few weeks at Silverstone Academy were nothing like the novel. In the original story, Adrian pursued Elliot openly, while Kian plotted against them. But now everything felt wrong. Adrian did approach us often, but he seemed equally interested in talking to both Elliot and me. He invited us to study groups, sat near us in the cafeteria, and joined our conversations. Elliot found him friendly and kind. I found him deeply suspicious. "Why are you really being nice to us?" I asked Adrian one day when Elliot had left to return library books. Adrian looked at me with those intense gray eyes. "What do you mean? You are Adrian Blackwell. You could befriend anyone. Why us?" He leaned back in his chair, considering his answer. "Maybe I am interested in people who are genuine. Your friendship with Elliot is real. That is rare among wealthy families. You do not know anything about me. I know you defended Elliot from those alphas. I know you visit his bakery every day. I know you are not the person rumors say you are." He paused. "Or maybe you are exactly that person, and you are simply choosing to be better." His words made me uncomfortable. How did he know so much about my activities? Before I could respond, Elliot returned with an armful of books. "Sorry that took so long. The library is huge." Adrian immediately stood to help him. "Let me carry some." I watched them interact, waiting for signs of the fated mate bond the novel promised. But there was nothing. No magnetic attraction, no overwhelming chemistry. They were just friendly. What had I done to the plot? That night, I researched fated mates in this world. According to what I found, the bond usually activated when Alpha and Omega first met if they were truly destined for each other. Adrian and Elliot had met weeks ago. If nothing had happened yet, maybe they were not fated mates in this version of reality. Which meant I had completely broken the story. The thought should have relieved me. If the main romance never happened, maybe the plot where Kian was destroyed would not happen either. But instead, I felt anxious. Without knowing what came next, I could not prepare or protect myself. Things got more complicated when my heat cycle arrived unexpectedly early. I woke up one morning feeling feverish and weak. As an Omega, heat cycles were natural but intensely uncomfortable. They made Omegas vulnerable, releasing pheromones that attracted Alphas. I immediately called the Academy Health Center. They told me to stay in my dorm room and lock the door. They would send suppressants right away. But before the suppressants arrived, someone knocked urgently on my door. "Kian, are you okay?" It was Elliot's voice. "Do not come in," I called out weakly. "I am in heat. It is not safe." "I am an Omega too," he reminded me. "I will not be affected the same way Alphas are. Please let me help." Against my better judgment, I unlocked the door. Elliot slipped inside quickly and locked it behind him. He rushed to my side, his cool hand touching my burning forehead. "You are burning up," he said worriedly. "Where are your suppressants?" "They are bringing them soon." Elliot grabbed a cloth and cold water from my bathroom, gently pressing it against my forehead. His presence was calming, his Omega pheromones soothing rather than aggravating my condition. "Thank you," I whispered. "You did not have to come." Of course I did. You are my friend. He smiled gently. My only real friend. Looking at him through my fever-blurred vision, something shifted in my heart. When had I started caring about Elliot beyond just survival? When had his smile become the best part of my day? A loud banging on the door startled us both. Kian, are you in there? Adrian's voice sounded urgent and strained. Go away, I called back. I am fine. Your pheromones are spreading through the hallway. Other alphas will come. He sounded like he was struggling to control himself. Let me in. I will protect you until the suppressants arrive. Elliot looked at me questioningly. I did not want Adrian in here during my heat, but he had a point. If other alphas caught my scent, they might lose control. Elliot, open the door quickly, then lock it again immediately. Elliot obeyed. Adrian rushed in, and I saw him fighting his alpha instincts. His eyes had turned darker, his breathing was heavy, but he maintained control remarkably well. He immediately went to the window, opening it to ventilate the room. The suppressants should arrive any minute, he said, deliberately not looking at me. I sent someone to rush them. Thank you, I managed to say. Do not thank me yet. I am barely holding on. His voice was strained. Your scent is incredibly strong. Elliot stayed by my side, holding my hand. Adrian remained by the window, his back to us, fighting his instincts. The minutes felt like hours. Finally, a female beta nurse arrived with the suppressants. She administered them quickly, and within minutes, I felt the fever beginning to subside. My pheromones gradually weakened. Adrian finally turned around, his eyes returning to normal. Better. Yes, thank you both. I felt embarrassed that they had seen me like this. The nurse instructed me to rest for the remainder of the day. After she left, Adrian and Elliot stayed to make sure I was truly okay. You were really strong, I told Adrian. Most alphas would have lost control. He smiled slightly. I have good reasons to maintain control. What reasons? He glanced at Elliot, then back at me. Because you are both important to me. I would never forgive myself if I hurt either of you. Elliot blushed at his words. I felt something twist in my chest. Was this jealousy? But jealous of whom? Adrian for being close to Elliot, or Elliot for receiving Adrian's attention? After they left, I lay in bed, my mind racing. The story had changed completely. Adrian showed no signs of falling exclusively for Elliot. Instead, he seemed to value both of us equally. And my own feelings were becoming dangerously confused. I had transmigrated into this world to survive, but I was starting to realize that surviving might be more complicated than I thought, especially when my heart refused to follow the script I had planned. A month later, Silverstone Academy prepared for its famous autumn festival. The entire campus transformed into a magical wonderland with lights, decorations, and various activity booths. Students could participate in games, performances, and competitions. The festival would end with a formal dance in the grand ballroom. We should all go together, Adrian suggested during lunch. The three of us. Elliot nodded excitedly. I have never been to a festival like this before. I hesitated. In the original novel, the Autumn Festival was where Adrian confessed his feelings to Elliot for the first time. If that scene was supposed to happen, I should not interfere. But the novel had already changed so much that I did not know what to expect anymore. Sure, I finally agreed. It sounds fun. The week before the festival, something unexpected happened. My father called me to his office at the Ashford mansion. He was a stern alpha who rarely showed emotion. Kian, we need to discuss your future, he began formally. The Ashford family has received a marriage proposal for you. My blood ran cold. What? Duke Northfield has requested your hand for his son, Marcus. It would be an excellent match for our family. Marcus Northfield. I remembered him from the novel. He was a cruel alpha who treated omegas as property. In the original story, he never proposed to Kian because Kian had been disgraced by then. But now, with my changed behavior, apparently I was a desirable match. I refuse, I said firmly. My father's eyes narrowed. You refuse? This is not a request, Kian. This is your duty to the family. I am only 18. There is no need to rush into marriage. The Northfield family is powerful. This alliance would benefit us greatly. He leaned forward. You will meet Marcus at the autumn festival. I expect you to be courteous and agreeable. After I left his office, I felt sick. Marcus was dangerous, and I had no intention of marrying him. But how could I refuse without causing problems for my family? I needed help, but who could I ask? My mind immediately went to Elliot and Adrian. That evening, I met them at our usual study spot in the library. They noticed my distress immediately. What happened? Elliot asked gently. I explained the situation. Both of them looked horrified. Marcus Northfield is bad news, Adrian said seriously. I have heard terrible things about how he treats Omegas. You cannot marry him. I know, but my father is insistent. What can I do? Elliot grabbed my hand. We will help you. There must be a solution. Adrian thought for a moment. If you were already courting someone, your father could not force this marriage. Omega rights laws protect against arranged marriages if the Omega is already in a committed relationship. But I am not courting anyone, I pointed out. You could pretend to be, Adrian suggested. If you had a fake boyfriend for the festival, Marcus would back off. Who would agree to that? Both Adrian and Elliot spoke at the same time. I will do it, they said in unison. They looked at each other in surprise, then back at me. The situation would have been funny if I had not been so stressed. I appreciate both of your offers, but I should do it, Adrian insisted. I am an alpha. Marcus would take it more seriously. But that is exactly why I should do it, Elliot countered. If Kian pretends to date another Omega, it shows he has no interest in alphas at all. That would be even more effective. They began debating the merits of each option while I sat there, completely overwhelmed. Finally, I interrupted them. Elliot should do it, I decided. Adrian looked disappointed but nodded. If that is what you want. Truthfully, I chose Elliot because the idea of fake dating Adrian felt too dangerous. He was the male lead. I could not risk catching real feelings for him. With Elliot, I felt safe. We were friends. Nothing more. Or so I told myself. The night of the autumn festival arrived. The campus looked beautiful, covered in golden lights and autumn decorations. Students wore their finest clothes, and the atmosphere was magical. Elliot met me at my dorm wearing an elegant blue suit that matched his eyes. He looked breathtaking, and I was not the only one who noticed. Several students turned to stare at him. You look beautiful, I said honestly. He blushed. You look wonderful too. That burgundy suit is perfect on you. We linked arms and headed toward the festival grounds. Adrian joined us shortly after, looking handsome in a black suit. If anyone thought our trio was unusual, they did not say anything. We explored the festival booths together, playing games and trying festival foods. For a while, I almost forgot about Marcus and the arranged marriage. I was just enjoying time with my friends. Then Marcus appeared. He was tall and broad, with blonde hair and cold green eyes. He approached our group with a possessive smile that made my skin crawl. Kian Ashford, he greeted. I am Marcus Northfield. Our fathers have told us about the arrangement. Yes, they have. I stepped closer to Elliot. But there has been a misunderstanding. I am already courting someone. I took Elliot's hand deliberately. Marcus's eyes narrowed as he looked at our joined hands. Courting an Omega? He laughed mockingly. That is unusual. Perhaps, I said coolly. But it is my choice. Your father did not mention this. My father does not control my heart. Marcus's expression darkened. We will see about that. This is not over, Kian. He walked away and I finally breathed again. Elliot squeezed my hand reassuringly. You did well, he whispered. Adrian had watched the entire exchange silently. Now he spoke quietly. He will not give up that easily. Marcus Northfield is persistent and ruthless. What should we do? I asked. Continue the act convincingly. If he believes you and Elliot are truly together, he will have to back off eventually. For the rest of the festival, Elliot and I stayed close together. We held hands, shared food, and laughed at each other's jokes. Felt natural and comfortable. Maybe too comfortable. When the dance began in the grand ballroom, Elliot offered his hand. "May I have this dance?" Of course. We moved onto the dance floor together. Elliot was a good dancer, leading me smoothly through the steps. Under the sparkling lights, surrounded by music and other dancing couples, something shifted between us. "Thank you for helping me," I said softly. "Always," he replied. "You know I care about you, right?" "I care about you too." He smiled, but there was something sad in his eyes. "Sometimes I wish this was not just pretend." My heart stopped. "What?" Before he could answer, the music ended. Adrian appeared beside us, looking serious. "Marcus is watching you both closely. You should kiss." "What?" both Elliot and I exclaimed. "To make it convincing," Adrian explained, though his jaw was tight. "Just a brief kiss. Nothing more." Elliot and I looked at each other. My heart was racing. This was just acting, right? Just to fool Marcus. Nothing real. Elliot leaned in slowly, giving me time to back away. But I did not. Our lips met softly, briefly. It was gentle and sweet and completely overwhelming. When we pulled apart, I saw Marcus glaring at us from across the room. The act had worked. But looking at Elliot's flushed face and feeling my own racing heartbeat, I realized something terrifying. This was not just acting anymore. At least not for me. After the festival, everything became more complicated. Elliot and I continued our fake relationship to ward off Marcus, but the lines between pretend and real grew increasingly blurred. We held hands between classes, ate lunch together every day, and spent most of our free time in each other's company. The problem was that it all felt too real. Adrian watched us with an expression I could not quite read. Sometimes I caught him staring at us with something like longing. Other times he seemed genuinely happy for us. I could not figure out what he was thinking. One afternoon, I found Adrian alone in the library studying. I decided to talk to him directly. "Can we speak honestly?" I asked, sitting across from him. He looked up, surprised. "Of course. What is wrong? You have been acting strange lately." Adrian closed his book slowly. "Have I?" "Yes, ever since the festival." "Did we do something to upset you?" He was quiet for a long moment. Then he sighed. "Can I tell you something in confidence? Something I have not told anyone else." "Of course. I am different from other alphas. My orientation is not typical." He paused, choosing his words carefully. "I am attracted to both omegas and alphas, but I am mostly drawn to omegas regardless of whether I am supposed to be their fated mate." I processed this information. The novel had never mentioned this about Adrian. "Thank you for trusting me with this. There is more," he continued. "When I first met you and Elliot, I was drawn to both of you. Not in the typical fated mate way, but genuinely interested in who you both are as people. Watching you together made me realize something." He met my eyes directly. "I think I have feelings for both of you." My mouth fell open. "What?" "I know it is complicated. I know you and Elliot are together. I am not asking for anything. I just needed to be honest." He smiled sadly. "I care about you both deeply. Your happiness matters more to me than my own feelings." I did not know what to say. This was not in the novel at all. Adrian was supposed to fall in love with Elliot alone. But now he was confessing feelings for both of us? "Adrian, You do not need to respond," he interrupted gently. "I just wanted you to know the truth." After he left, I sat in the library for a long time, trying to process everything. The story had completely derailed from the novel, and my own feelings were becoming impossible to ignore. I cared about Elliot, but I also cared about Adrian, and I had no idea what to do about either feeling. That evening, Elliot came to my dorm room. He looked nervous, clutching something behind his back. "Can we talk?" he asked. "Of course. Come in." He sat on my bed, still hiding whatever he was holding. "I need to tell you something important." My heart raced. "What is it?" "This fake relationship between us?" He paused. taking a deep breath. It is not fake for me anymore, Kian. I have real feelings for you. I think I have had them for a while now, but I was too afraid to say anything. He pulled out what he had been hiding. It was a small box wrapped in simple paper. I made you something. Inside the box was a bracelet woven from colored threads. It was simple but beautiful, clearly handmade with care. In my culture, giving someone a handmade bracelet means you are offering them your heart, Elliot explained, his cheeks red. You do not have to accept it. I just wanted you to know how I feel. I stared at the bracelet, emotions overwhelming me. Elliot had real feelings for me. Not fake, not for show. Real. Elliot, I did not know what to say. My feelings were so confused. I cared about him deeply, but I also had feelings for Adrian. What kind of person developed feelings for two people at once? You do not have to answer now, Elliot said quickly. I just needed to be honest. Our friendship matters most to me. I do not want to lose that. You will never lose me, I promised, taking his hand. Can I have some time to think about everything? Of course. He smiled, though his eyes were sad. Take all the time you need. After Elliot left, I lay in bed staring at the bracelet. Everything was falling apart. The story I knew was completely gone. I had feelings for both the protagonist Omega and the male lead Alpha. What was I supposed to do? The next day, Marcus Northfield cornered me in an empty hallway. I know your relationship with that Omega is fake, he said smugly. My blood ran cold. What are you talking about? I had someone investigate you. You and Elliot Rivers only started acting like a couple right after I approached you at the festival. Very convenient timing. He stepped closer. Your father still wants this marriage, and I always get what I want. I will never marry you. We will see about that. He leaned in menacingly. Accidents happen at this academy. It would be tragic if something happened to your little Omega friend. Rage filled me. If you touch Elliot, I will destroy you. Marcus laughed. Bold words from such a delicate Omega. But go ahead and try. He walked away, leaving me shaking with anger and fear. Marcus was dangerous, and now he was threatening Elliot. I needed help. I immediately found Adrian and explained what happened. His expression turned deadly serious. Marcus needs to be stopped, Adrian said firmly. But we need evidence of his threats. Without proof, it is just your word against his. How do we get evidence? Let me handle that. I have resources. He placed a hand on my shoulder. Do not worry. I will not let anything happen to either of you. Over the next few days, Adrian worked behind the scenes. Meanwhile, Elliot and I stayed close together for safety. The tension was exhausting. Finally, Adrian called us to meet him privately. He looked triumphant. I have everything we need, he announced. Marcus has been threatening and blackmailing other Omegas for years. I gathered testimony from his victims and recorded evidence of his behavior. It is enough to get him expelled and possibly face legal charges. Really? I could hardly believe it. Really? He will not bother you anymore. Relief washed over me. Thank you, Adrian. I do not know how to repay you. You do not owe me anything. I did it because I care about you. Both of you. He looked between Elliot and me. Actually, there is something I want to discuss with both of you. Something important. We sat down together, and Adrian took a deep breath. I know this is unconventional. I know it is complicated. But I need to say this. He looked at us seriously. What if we tried being together? All three of us. I blinked. What? A relationship with all three of us? Adrian clarified. I know it is not common, but it is not forbidden either. Some people form triad relationships. It could work if we all communicate honestly. Elliot and I looked at each other in shock. A relationship with both of them? Was that even possible? I know it is a lot to consider, Adrian continued. But think about it. We all care about each other. We work well together. Why force ourselves to choose when we could simply accept that love is not always simple? He had a point. I did have feelings for both of them. And looking at Elliot's thoughtful expression, I wondered if he felt similarly. Can we think about it? I asked. Of course. Take all the time you need. Adrian smiled gently. Whatever you both decide, I will respect it. Your happiness matters most to me. After Adrian left, Elliot and I sat together in silence. What do you think? I finally asked. I think it is crazy, Elliot admitted. But also maybe perfect? I care about Adrian too. I was trying to ignore those feelings because I thought I should only have feelings for you. I feel the same way, I confessed. I have feelings for both of you. I thought there was something wrong with me. We looked at each other and started laughing at the absurdity of the situation. Here we were, two omegas with feelings for the same alpha who also had feelings for each other. It was messy and complicated and nothing like the novel I had read. But maybe that was okay. Maybe the story did not need to follow the script. Maybe we could write our own ending. Should we try it? I asked Elliot. He smiled. I think we should. Telling Adrian we wanted to try a relationship with all three of us was both terrifying and exciting. We met him in his private student apartment off campus, where we could talk freely. We have made a decision, I announced, trying to sound confident. Adrian looked nervous, which was unusual for him. And we want to try, Elliot said softly. The three of us. Together. The relief and joy on Adrian's face made my heart warm. Really? You are sure? We are sure, I confirmed. But we need to set some ground rules. Clear communication. Honesty. No secrets. Agreed, Adrian said immediately. And we take things slowly. No rushing into anything any of us are not comfortable with. Over the next hour, we talked about expectations, boundaries, and fears. It was awkward at times, but necessary. By the end, we had a clear understanding of what we were trying to build together. So, are we officially dating now? Elliot asked, a shy smile on his face. If you want to be, Adrian replied. I took both their hands. I want to be. And just like that, our unusual relationship began. The first few weeks were an adjustment. We learned how to balance time between all three of us and one-on-one time in pairs. We discovered each other's preferences and quirks. Adrian liked organizing things. Elliot loved physical affection. I needed quiet time to recharge. Publicly, we were careful. Triad relationships were legal but uncommon, and we did not want to deal with excessive gossip. We told close friends gradually, and most were supportive once they understood. My father was a different problem entirely. When he discovered Marcus had been expelled and would not be marrying me, he was furious. He demanded I return home immediately to discuss my future. I knew it meant another arranged marriage proposal. I am not going, I told Adrian and Elliot. You have to face him eventually, Adrian pointed out gently. Then I will face him with both of you beside me. We traveled to the Ashford mansion together. My father was not happy to see Adrian and Elliot with me. What is the meaning of this? He demanded. Father, these are my partners. Both of them. We are in a committed relationship. His face turned red. A relationship with two people? That is absurd. You need to choose one. I do not need to choose. I love them both. And they love me. That is all that matters. Love, he scoffed. You are too young to know what love is. This is just a phase. I will not allow you to embarrass the Ashford family with this unconventional nonsense. Adrian stepped forward. With respect, sir, Kian is an adult who can make his own choices. And if you try to force him into an unwanted marriage, I have lawyers who specialize in Omega rights cases. My father glared at Adrian. Are you threatening me? I am protecting Kian. There is a difference. The tension was thick. Finally, my father turned to me. If you continue with this foolishness, I will cut you off. No more allowance. No inheritance. Nothing. The threat should have scared me. The original Kian had been dependent on his family's wealth. But I was not that person anymore. Then cut me off, I said calmly. I would rather be poor with people who love me than wealthy and miserable. My father looked genuinely shocked. He probably expected me to back down. When I did not, he shook his head in disappointment. Get out. All of you. We left the mansion together. As we walked away from my childhood home, I felt surprisingly free. "Are you okay?" Elliot asked worriedly. "I am better than okay," I replied honestly. For the first time in my life, I chose what I wanted instead of what was expected of me. Adrian pulled out his phone. "I will call my financial advisor. We can set you up with your own accounts and resources. You will not have to worry about money." "I can work at the bakery," Elliot added. "Grandmother always needs help." I looked at both of them, feeling overwhelmed with gratitude and love. "Thank you, both of you." That night, we celebrated our freedom with a simple dinner at Elliot's bakery. His grandmother, who knew about our relationship, cooked traditional dishes from her homeland. We ate, laughed, and made plans for the future. "I was thinking," Adrian said, "after we graduate, we should travel. All three of us. See the world together." "I would love that," Elliot said, his eyes shining. "I have always wanted to travel." "Where should we go first?" I asked. "Everywhere," Adrian replied, grinning. "We have time." As I sat between them, holding both their hands, I realized something profound. I had transmigrated into this world expecting to follow a script, to survive a predetermined tragedy. But by changing my actions, I had created something entirely new. This was not the story from the novel. This was our story. Messy, complicated, and absolutely perfect. Our relationship was not always easy. Three people meant three different personalities, needs, and occasional conflicts. But we learned to navigate challenges together. The first major issue came from an unexpected source: Adrian's family. The Blackwell family was even more traditional than mine. When they discovered Adrian was in a triad relationship with two Omegas, they demanded a meeting. "I should go alone," Adrian insisted. "I do not want you both to deal with my family's judgment." "No," I said firmly. "We are in this together. If they want to judge our relationship, they can judge all three of us." We traveled to the Blackwell estate, a massive mansion that made the Ashford home look modest. Adrian's parents, both alphas, waited in an elegant sitting room. "Adrian," his mother said coolly, "we need to discuss this situation." "There is nothing to discuss," Adrian replied calmly. "I am in a relationship with Kian and Elliot. I love them both. That is not changing." His father frowned. "This is unacceptable. The Blackwell heir cannot be involved in such an unconventional arrangement. Think of our reputation." "I am thinking of my happiness," Adrian countered. "Something you should want for your son." "Happiness is not always the priority," his mother said. "Duty and family honor matter more." I could not stay quiet any longer. "With respect, that is not true. Adrian's happiness should be your priority as his parents. He is not a tool for preserving your reputation. He is a person who deserves to love who he chooses." Adrian's mother looked at me sharply. "And you are Kian Ashford, the son who was disowned by his own family. What gives you the right to lecture us about family?" Her words stung, but Elliot squeezed my hand supportively. "My family disowned me because I refused to live a lie," I replied evenly. "If that is what honorable families do, then maybe honor is not as important as everyone claims." Silence fell. Then, surprisingly, Adrian's father spoke. "You have courage, young man. I respect that." He looked at Adrian. "You truly love them both?" "More than anything," Adrian answered without hesitation. His father sighed. "Then I suppose we must accept it. But understand, Adrian, this path will not be easy. Society can be cruel to those who deviate from expectations." "I know," Adrian said, "but they are worth it." His mother still looked disapproving, but she nodded slightly. "Very well, but do not expect us to openly celebrate this arrangement." It was not perfect acceptance, but it was something. As we left the Blackwell estate, Adrian hugged both of us tightly. "Thank you for standing with me," he said. "Always," Elliot and I replied together. Back at the academy, we focused on our studies and relationship. We developed routines that worked for all three of us. Monday and Wednesday evenings were for group dates. Tuesday was Elliot's one-on-one time with Adrian. Thursday was my one-on-one time with Adrian. Friday was Elliot and my time together. Weekends were flexible. We also discovered new things about each other. I learned that Adrian was an excellent cook and loved preparing elaborate meals for us. Elliot had a beautiful singing voice and would perform at small cafes for extra money. I found that I enjoyed photography and started documenting our life together. One evening, while we were all studying together in Adrian's apartment, Elliot suddenly closed his book. "Can I ask you both something?" "Of course," Adrian and I said simultaneously. "Do you ever regret this? Choosing a relationship with me?" Elliot's voice was small. "You could both have normal relationships with other people. You could avoid all the judgment and complications." Adrian immediately went to him, kneeling in front of where Elliot sat. "Never. Not once have I regretted being with you." I joined them, taking Elliot's hand. "Elliot, you are the person who taught me what true kindness looks like. You are the reason I survived in this world. How could I ever regret loving you?" Tears filled Elliot's eyes. "I just worry sometimes that I am not enough, that I am just the poor Omega who does not fit in your world." "You are more than enough," Adrian said firmly. "You are everything." We held him until he stopped crying. In that moment, I realized how important it was to constantly reassure each other. Love was not just grand gestures. It was these quiet moments of vulnerability and support. The semester continued, and we faced smaller challenges. Jealousy occasionally flared up when one person felt left out. We argued about small things like who left dishes in the sink or who forgot to buy groceries. But we always talked through problems instead of letting them fester. One particularly difficult moment came when Elliot's grandmother fell seriously ill. He was devastated, spending every free moment at the hospital. Adrian and I supported him as best we could, but watching Elliot suffer was painful. "I do not know what I will do if I lose her," Elliot confessed one night, tears streaming down his face. "She is all the family I have." "You have us," I reminded him gently. "We are your family too." "Kian is right," Adrian added. "You will never be alone, Elliot. We will always be here." Fortunately, Elliot's grandmother recovered after treatment. But the scare reminded us how precious time was. Life could change in an instant. As the academic year neared its end, we began seriously discussing our future. Where would we live after graduation? How would we manage careers and the relationship? What did we want long-term? "I want to open my own bakery," Elliot said. "Something bigger than grandmother's shop. A place where I can hire other Omegas who need jobs." "I want to reform Blackwell Industries," Adrian shared. "Make it more ethical and focused on helping people rather than just profit." "I want to start a foundation," I added. "Something that helps Omegas escape bad situations, like arranged marriages or abusive relationships." We all looked at each other, realizing our dreams complemented each other beautifully. "We could do all of it together," Adrian suggested. "Support each other's goals while building a life together." "Is that really possible?" Elliot asked hopefully. "If we work hard and support each other, yes," I said confidently. That night we made a pact. Whatever challenges came, we would face them together. Our love was strong enough to overcome any obstacle. Little did we know our biggest challenge was still ahead. The final challenge came from the least expected source: the original plot itself. One day, I received a letter with no return address. Inside was a single page with a message written in elegant script. "The story is not over. The villain must face justice." My blood ran cold. Someone knew I had transmigrated into this world. Someone knew about the original plot. I showed the letter to Adrian and Elliot. They were confused and concerned. "What does it mean?" Elliot asked. I had never told them the truth about my transmigration. How could I explain that this world was originally a novel? That Kian was supposed to be a villain who suffered a tragic end? "I need to tell you both something," I began nervously. "Something I should have said a long time ago." I explained everything. How I had died in my original world and woken up in this body. how this world was based on a novel I had read, how Kian was supposed to be a villain who died tragically after tormenting Elliot and opposing Adrian. When I finished, both of them were silent. I held my breath, terrified they would think I was insane or be angry I had hidden this. Finally, Adrian spoke. So the original Kian was supposed to hurt us? Yes, he was jealous and cruel. I changed everything when I decided to befriend Elliot instead of bully him. Elliot looked thoughtful. But you are not him. You are you. Whatever the original Kian would have done does not matter. You chose differently. That is what worries me, I said. The letter suggests the story is trying to correct itself, that I still need to face punishment for the original Kian's crimes, even though I never committed them. That is ridiculous, Adrian said firmly. You have not done anything wrong. Whoever sent this letter is just trying to scare you. Over the next few days, more strange things happened. Accidents that almost hurt me but missed by inches. Anonymous rumors spreading about me at the academy. Someone tried to sabotage my assignments. It felt like the universe itself was trying to force me back into the villain role. Then we discovered the truth. The person behind everything was someone I had completely forgotten from the novel. Victoria Stone, a side character who had been in love with Adrian. In the original story, Victoria helped Kian torment Elliot, hoping to win Adrian's favor. But in this changed timeline, I had never interacted with her. She had become irrelevant to the plot, or so I thought. You ruined everything, Victoria screamed when we confronted her. Adrian was supposed to fall in love with Elliot. Elliot was supposed to suffer and grow stronger. You were supposed to be the villain. But you changed the story, and now nothing makes sense. You read the novel too? I asked in shock. I transmigrated here just like you, she revealed. But I wanted the story to continue as written. I loved reading about Adrian and Elliot's romance. I wanted to see it play out in reality. Her eyes were wild. You are not supposed to be happy. You are the villain. I am not a villain, I said firmly. I am just someone trying to live a good life. But the story does not matter, Elliot interrupted. This is real life now. People are not bound by plots or roles. We all have the freedom to choose who we want to be. Victoria looked lost. But if the story does not matter, what is the point of everything? The point is to be happy, Adrian said gently. To love and be loved. To make choices that feel right to us. You could have that too, Victoria, if you stop trying to control everything. Victoria broke down crying. She had been so focused on making the story happen exactly as written that she forgot to live her own life. After campus security took her for counseling, we finally felt safe. But her words stayed with me. Was I still bound by the original story? Would I ever truly be free? That night I had a dream. I was back in my original world, sitting in my bedroom reading the novel. But this time, when I turned the pages, they were blank. A voice spoke, though I could not see anyone. The story ended when you chose to change it. What comes next is up to you. I woke up with tears on my face and a sense of peace in my heart. The original plot was truly over. I was free to write my own future. Graduation came quickly. We all walked across the stage together, earning our degrees and preparing for the next chapter of our lives. True to our plans, Elliot opened his bakery with Adrian's financial support and my help with design and marketing. Adrian began implementing ethical reforms at Blackwell Industries. I started the Omega Liberation Foundation, helping Omegas escape bad situations. We bought a house together, large enough for all three of us with separate rooms for when we needed space. We adopted 2 cats and a dog. We hosted dinner parties for friends and colleagues. We built a life that was uniquely ours. 2 years after graduation, Adrian proposed properly. He got down on one knee in front of both Elliot and me, holding 2 rings. I know our relationship is unconventional. I know the law does not fully recognize triad marriages yet. But I want to commit to both of you officially, in every way possible. Will you marry me? Both of you. Yes, Elliot and I said together, laughing and crying. We had a private ceremony with close friends and supportive family members. It was not legally binding in all ways, but it was real to us. We exchanged vows, promising to love and support each other through everything. I never imagined I could be this happy, I said during my vows. You both saved me. You taught me what love truly means. You saved yourself, Adrian corrected gently. We just had the privilege of being beside you. You gave me a family, Elliot added, tears streaming down his face. You gave me home. After the ceremony, we celebrated with dancing, food, and joy. Looking around at the people who had supported us, I felt overwhelmed with gratitude. That night, lying between my two husbands, I thought about the journey that brought us here. I had transmigrated into a world expecting tragedy. Instead, I found love, friendship, and purpose. The original Kian Ashford was meant to be a villain who died alone and miserable. But I had taken his life and transformed it into something beautiful. What are you thinking about? Elliot murmured sleepily. Just how lucky I am, I replied. We are the lucky ones, Adrian said, pulling us both closer. As I drifted to sleep, I realized something important. This was no longer a story about survival. It was a story about choosing to live authentically, love freely, and write your own destiny. And our story was far from over. It was just beginning.